Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing another top 5 for you guys. And today is going to be top 5 decks for $40 or less. And I have some amazing decks on this list for you guys, even some really good meta contenders and rogue decks, which is super exciting. So for the purpose of this list, we're not going to be focusing on expensive staples like Ash Blossom, Forbidden Droplets, or Infinite Impermanence. We're just going to be focusing on the core of the deck, the exact cards that you need to be able to play the deck, which is extremely important to be able to pick up deck cores. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And definitely subscribe to the channel because we're on the road to 100k subscribers, so every subscriber counts. So let's go ahead and get straight on into the list, guys. For number 5, guys, we have a deck that will surely shine, and that is Crystal Beast. Crystal Beast is an awesome deck for anybody to pick up for just how nostalgic this deck is. It's super fun to be able to play because there's actually 2 amazing ways that you can play Crystal Beast. Either a Rainbow Dragon turbo build to be able to summon out all sorts of amazing forms of Rainbow Dragon by using these 7 different Crystal Beast monsters, or a Conclave control build, which is the more meta of the 2, controlling the board with all sorts of amazing cards while also playing the extremely powerful Conclave control, which will basically make it so all of your Crystal Beasts float. I love playing Crystal Conclave in this deck because it's just such a powerful card. This deck is also extremely affordable because the most expensive card in the deck is actually Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, sitting at about $1, which is an amazing card to be able to play in this deck because you can actually banish it from your graveyard to be able to add any Crystal Beast you want from your deck to your hand along with any field spell in the game, which is absolutely crazy that you can add any field spell in the game to your hand off this card's effect. Some really good awesome text that you can actually include in the deck to be able to search off of Rainbow Bridge of Salvation would be Zombie World to be able to control the field and turn everything into a zombie, Necro Valley to lock down the graveyard, or even Rainbow Ruin, which is the Crystal Beast field spell that, depending on the amount of Crystal Beasts you have on your side of the field, you're actually going to get some awesome bonus effects. This deck is also extremely affordable because it got a structure deck, which is just going to make this deck even more affordable, and just about everything that you need for this particular deck was included in the structure deck, making this a great option for anybody to pick up. I absolutely love this deck because the Crystal Beasts are just such a fun deck to be able to play, and I love their playstyle that if they do get destroyed, they move themselves into the back row as continuous spell cards, making it so that you can get some awesome advantage on your side of the field. For number 4, guys, we have a deck that won't bury your wallet, and that is Zombie World. Zombie World is an awesome deck for anybody to pick up because this deck makes great use of all of the generic zombie support, which gives you a lot of budget options. This deck is amazing because the Zombie World focuses on the field spell Zombie World on your side of the field, which turns everything into a zombie on the field and in the graveyard, which is amazing. It's also a really good control card that prevents your opponent from tribute summoning except for zombies, which is just such a cool thing for this card to be able to do. This deck also has an amazing boss monster in the form of Doom King Balladrot that brings itself back to your side of the field every single turn as long as there's a field spell on the field, which is such a powerful effect for this card to have. The most expensive card in this deck is actually going to be Gozuki, sitting about $3.50, and it's got good reason to be that expensive because this card is a walking foolish burial for any zombie that you need to send from your deck to the graveyard, which is just such a cool thing about this card. But you really only need 2 copies of that card, making it a really budget option for you guys. This deck is super fun to be able to play because you can synchro summon into some amazing boss monsters like Red Eyes Zombie Dragon Lord, Immortal Dragon, or even the Skeletal Dragon Felgran, which is an amazing boss monster to be able to make in this deck, and they're really budget options as well to be able to put on your side of the field. I absolutely love playing this deck to be able to control the board with all sorts of different zombies and even control the graveyard with extremely powerful zombie cards, and this deck is really a great option for anybody to pick up because you can include powerhouse normal summons like Unizombie, which is just such a powerful zombie card to put on your side of the field, and it's all about the generic zombie support that we've gotten over the years, making this deck a really awesome deck for anybody to pick up. For number 3, guys, we have a golden one deck, and that is going to be Eldritch. Eldritch is an awesome deck for anybody to pick up because this deck has been good ever since it was released. It's super fun to be able to play, and it's actually surprisingly budget, which is super fun about this particular deck. The cool thing about Eldritch is there's actually only one main deck monster in the entire archetype, being Eldritch the Golden Lord. And if you guys have ever seen any of the other Eldritch videos on the channel, you guys know I have a nickname for the Golden Lord himself, which is the Golden Gucci Lord, which is just such an awesome card to be able to put on your side of the field because it can bring itself out as a 3,500 attack point monster, and it can also spot remove cards off the field, which is just absolutely crazy. This deck also plays a bunch of different trap cards because this deck is based around controlling the board with all sorts of amazing trap cards, and the cool thing about this deck is the most expensive card in it is actually Eldritch the Golden Lord himself, sitting at about $2.50, which is amazing to be able to play this card in the deck because it's a really budget deck. And the cool thing about that is it's actually the alternative art, giving you the best artwork to be able to play in this deck. This deck also plays trap monsters in the form of your Huakero and your copy of Conquistador, which are amazing cards to be able to put on your side of the field because they gain bonus effects when your copy of Eldritch the Golden Lord is on your side of the field when they're summoned, which is super cool to be able to do. For example, your copy of your Conquistador will pop a card on the field, and your copy of Huakero can banish a card from the graveyard, which is absolutely amazing. And the cool thing about this deck is it's super easy to put your copy of Eldritch the Golden Lord on your side of the field because you have all sorts of different Eldlixirs to be able to put him on your side of the field directly from your hand, deck, or graveyard, depending on which one you activate to put him on the field, which is just absolutely crazy. This deck is super fun because there's all sorts of different trap cards that are just amazing to put in this deck to be able to use as budget options, and it's a really fun deck to play. For number 2, guys, we're going to be building the overlay network with Phantom Knights. This deck is an amazing deck to be able to play because it focuses around using level 3 monsters to make all sorts of crazy XZ plays. For example, making a copy of the Phantom Knight of Breaksword using any 2 level 3 monsters on your side of the field gets you a really powerful monster on the field to be able to pop a card on your field and a card on your opponent's field. And it even replaces itself with 2 more Phantom Knights when it's destroyed, which is super crazy to be able to do. You can climb into some awesome different plays with this deck because it also focuses on rank up magic cards, giving you some awesome options to be able to put on your side of the field, which is just super cool by ranking up your XZ monsters into even more powerful XZ monsters. This deck also has the most expensive card sitting at about 50 cents, which is the copy of the Link monster, the Phantom Knights of Rusty Bardige, which is a crazy powerful monster to be able to put on your side of the field and was even banned at one point with just how powerful this card is. Being able to send a Phantom Knight card from your deck to the graveyard to set a Phantom Knight spell or trap onto your side of the field. And the really cool combo for this deck is to actually summon out your copy of Rusty Bardige, send a copy of Silent Boots to the graveyard to be able to set a copy of Fogblade to your side of the field, and then banishing your copy of Silent Boots from the graveyard to be able to set an additional copy of Fogblade to your side of the field, getting you 2 negations on your side of the field. And an awesome card to be able to play in the deck is actually the copy of the Phantom Knights Fogblade, which is a crazy powerful card to be able to play in this deck because it functions just like the old school Fiendish Chain, being able to lock down your opponent's monster effects while they're on the field, which is just absolutely crazy. This deck is amazing because all your Phantom Knight monsters have great graveyard effects, being able to banish them from the graveyard to be able to get some crazy effects like searching cards from the deck, and being able to put cards like your Phantom Knight Fogblade on your side of the field, which is just absolutely crazy. This deck is extremely fun to be able to play, and you can include all sorts of budget tech options in this deck, like Tour Guide from the Underworld, which is a really awesome card to play in this build. For number 1, guys, we have an amazing deck for you, and that is Ninjas. Believe it! This deck is an amazing deck to be able to control the board with all sorts of amazing ninja cards, and this deck has been getting support all the way back as far as the Legend of the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is the very first pack ever released. This deck is super fun to be able to play to loop your copy of Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo over and over again to be able to search out additional ninja cards or ninjutsu cards from your deck to your hand, which is just absolutely crazy. This deck is amazing to be able to play because the most expensive card in it is actually going to be your copy of Mitsu the Insect Ninja, sitting at about $3 a piece, and that card is actually a walking negate, which is absolutely amazing to have a main deck walking the gate. This deck also can fusion summon by contact fusing your ninja monsters into some extremely powerful cards like your Mizan the Battle Ninja, which actually lets all of your ninjas just attack directly for game, which is just super cool that your ninjas can attack directly while it's on your side of the field. This deck makes great use of all sorts of amazing ninjutsu art cards, being able to swarm the board with cards like Dancing Leaves and your copy of Duplication, which is just super cool. And this deck has actually had great meta success recently, being able to top tournaments, and it's just super fun to be able to play. You can even include some really cool tech options like your copies of Anti-Spell Fragrance and Dark Smorg to be able to lock down your opponent, which is super fun to be able to do because it makes it so your opponent cannot set cards on the field, and it also locks them down from activating spell cards because they must set those spell cards on their side of the field before activating them while your copy of Anti-Spell Fragrance is on the field. And it's also super easy to put these cards on your side of the field with awesome tech boss monsters to be able to put in this deck, to be able to summon them out with copies of Transformation and even Super Transformation, which are awesome tech cards that you can play in this deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. I really enjoyed this list, and if you guys have any suggestions for budget decks, definitely put them down in the comments down below, because there's always awesome decks that you guys can pick up. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. Hit the bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description in a single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. And we're on the road to 100K subscribers, so definitely subscribe to the channel so we can get to 100K. Believe it. So we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.